Oh, this is it. It's really, really simple.
Little Nico rig.
The Jig Worm produces again.
It's actually taking drag.
Oop, there's another
got
one. Yep. You know, finesse is sort of interesting in the fact that as of recently, they're using a lot of finesse techniques to catch bass when you have to catch them, highly pressured fish. Whoa, I like that.
Yeah.
Tough, tough with a capital T.
I tell you what, finesse fishing like this is applicable anywhere. Shallow, deep, everything in between. It catches fish.
Closed captioning is provided by Smooth Moves, adjustable boat seat suspensions for a smoother ride.
Grab a couple peanut butter and jelly.
Ooh, yeah.
This color.
Whoop, there's one.
Yeah? Get out of your way here, Gene. See, that's a pretty good sign. I'm not even rigged up yet, and James already has a fish on. You know, finesse fishing works year-round all across the country, you know, when you need to catch fish. When you're finessing, you see it like in tournaments now. You know, 10 years ago, if you had a spinning rod on the deck, they looked at you. In the big leagues, they looked at you kind of weird. Now it's very, very common that guys will only have spinning rods because it works. This finesse fishing, light line, deep, shallow, everything in between, it works.
Yeah. Ooh. Not a big boy, but a nice one.
Yeah.
You know, today you hear a lot about finesse fishing. And it's interesting, you know, I'm sort of a bass fishing head, and I watch a lot of the television shows, and it's intriguing today that, you know, usually you see, you know, the top 10 guys throughout those tournaments on television, and more you see them fishing with spinning rods, finesse fishing, and that's all over North America. Right now I'm fishing with Troy Lindner, and we're gonna look at some of our favorite finesse techniques for catching largemouth and smallmouth and spotted bass. Hey, buddy. Well, Mr. Troy, I think we gotta move to our next
Sounds good.
inside corner here. Let me see if I can. Location is one of the biggest part of fishing. If you're not fishing fish, you can't catch them, of course. Today's day and age, we have fabulous electronics, and I don't think any system of fishing it's more important than finesse fishing in the fact that you're fishing relatively slow. So what we do is a lot of water bugging around and moving around, and what I do is use 2D sonar, map, and side imagery in conjunction with each other, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can see 2D sonar, I'm in 15 foot of water, I'm coming across a little rise, but the biggest thing is what I'm looking for is weed composition right now. I'm not really following a distinct edge per se, but what I'm looking for are thicker clumps of weeds and specific types of weeds. And you can see this stuff here, this is coontail mats, and it's just like little ribbons of it out here, but there's actually specific clumps of it, like over here you can see that's a thicker clump of coontail, and what I'll do is actually when you get on these flats is move my cursor over, mark that spot, and that transposes it onto my map. And this is what's really critical about this, is to actually put some amount of time with your electronics to really figure out how the cover is laid out and where the fish will position. It's really super critical. This flat is, you know, football fields long. Realistically, the fish that are positioned on this flat are sitting on spots that are like about the size of this boat and strips of weeds and different weed edges on this flat. So that's the real key, to utilize your electronics to its maximum potential. Okay. Ooh, look at them right here, big cabbage bed, Bob. Look at that, yeah, look at this stuff in here. Oh, I think we're gonna get a nibble in here.
Yeah.
Look at this stuff in here.
There we go. It's actually taking drag. Wow.
Bass.
Yeah, look at that.
That's what it is. It's a bit better bass.
What do we got?
Bass.
Let's see it. Yeah, there it comes. Ooh, a little better one. There we go. There we go. Nice.
Tough. Tough with a capital T.
Good.
That's a little bit better
go.
one.
A little bit better. This is the best Best bite it's the best one I had today. Come here. Come here. There. Ow. There we go. It's a little better. Got quite a nice little belly. Nice fish.
What depth was that fish in? Was he out deeper or shallow?
He was halfway in between. Okay. One thing, with the lighter line, is it allows for a different, literally different presentation for the bait when when you're going from 12-pound test down to 6 or 8. The diameter of the line, the bait reacts differently. The line's a little more subtle under the water, so it allows for a little bit more action.
The other critical portion of it is the rod and reel. And today, a lot of manufacturers make rods really specifically designed for it. This is a Legend tournament rod. This is actually a Wacky stick by St. Croix, rigged with a Daiwa Procyon 2500 reel. This is a perfect combination. It has a really smooth drag. Listen to it. It's a really smooth drag. There's one. See, I'm sleeping out there.
This segment is brought to you by Yeti, built for the wild.
This is a perfect combination. It has a really smooth drag. Listen to it. It's a really smooth drag. There's one. See, I'm sleeping out there.
I got one too.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, little pack of little
really
guys.
Yeah.
Finesse is sort of interesting in the fact that it's more of a numbers routine. That's the goal with a lot of finesse fishing technique. Well, you'll catch really big, smallmouth bass and obviously spotted bass that's known for it. But it's interesting, as of recently, they're using a lot of finesse techniques to catch bass when you have to catch them, highly pressured fish. Whoa, I like that.
Yeah.
Right now it's actually just sort of post-spawn. These fish are just starting to get back out on these main lake structures. And obviously in any type of fishing, one thing about finesse fishing, in the fact that the technique as a whole is relatively slow. So what's really critical is where you're positioning the baits, you know what I mean? So you have to know the layout. And a lot of times when we're fishing, what we would do is you actually really identify the actual specific cover you're fishing, put GPS coordinates or waypoints on those spots, and then fish around them very, very exact. And that's whether you're fishing weeds, whether you're fishing rocks. We do a lot of work with our electronics to really identify how these underwater cover is laid out, and then ultimately where to position the bait. That's really key. Like right now, I just taloned the boat down because I really noticed this is a different type of weed composition right here. In this particular lake, we have like 3 or 4 different types of weeds. You have cabbage and coontail, the really critical largemouth bass weeds. But we've noticed in here that the weeds down about 8-9 foot down, it's these coontail mats. And largemouth bass in these lakes love coontail, particularly big bass.
When you see somebody with talons on their boat like James has, you see the double talons, and that keeps the boat positioned in the same direction. A lot of the bass guys, for tournament guys, they, when they're bed fishing or they're fishing a specific piece of wood or cover, they keep pointed right at that. And it's also nice, on weed flats, if there's a particular, little piece of cabbage or milfoil or something that you're fishing, you can position the boat right at it. A lot of instances, a single talon is fine, but having 2 of them can keep you locked in where the boat, any type of wind, or current can swing the boat back and forth. So having 2 of them is twice as nice.
It is, it really is. A lot of times I actually fish slightly differently with these 12-foot talons. Is what I'll do is fish from the inside out, and that way I can utilize them a lot more. Because a lot of times when you're fishing like deep weed lines like here, a lot of people fish from the outside in, so they're holding the boat in 12, 14, 16 foot of water and casting up. But a lot of times what I'll do is fish from the inside out, and that way I can really, when we're moving along, you catch a fish like that, you drop the talon immediately, and then you can make a lot more successive casts, almost like spokes on a wheel, to really sort of comb that really little couple of clumps of weeds.
Oh, there we go. No one way up.
Got one?
Way up there, yeah.
Wow.
You see, it's pretty throwing pretty far up.
He was way up there.
Yeah, he was up there a little bit. I kind of threw up there a little bit shallower. And,
did you catch him on a Neko rig, or what did you catch him on?
Yeah, he hit it pretty fast. Oh, he's got one with him. There's one with him, yeah.
Right about there. I was gonna say, there should be bass here. This was looking too good. Come here, buddy.
There we go.
Yep.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
You know, we're talking about finesse fishing, and it's kind of relative. There we go, not a bad one. And it is relative, you know, to where you're fishing and the type of water. Here, 8-pound can be finesse fishing. If you got really stained water, you know, 10 or 12-pound test might be finesse fishing. In some of the trout lakes out west, 2-pound test catches twice as many fish as 4-pound, and I've seen that fishing side by side people for trout. So it is relative to the waters that you fish. All right, there we go. You know, when you're fishing Neko rigs like this, there's a lot of different variations and different ways, you know, to rig this to help catch fish. Here's a few of them.
First off, let's look at how to rig the Classic Nico Rig. You'll need Neko rig weights, Neko hooks, an O-ring tool, and 5 to 7 inch finesse worms. First, place the O-ring around the bait, then place the nail-shaped Neko weight into the head of the worm. Now take the hook and vertically thread it between the O-ring and the bait. You can experiment with the location of the O-ring and hook position, which will change the action and the fall of the bait. VMC makes both Neko weights and Half Moon Wacky weights that work great for this technique. While you don't necessarily need to use an O-ring, it will dramatically increase the longevity of your baits. Rigged with an O-ring, it's not uncommon to catch 10 or more fish on one bait. The Big Bite Wacky stick is one of our go-tos because it actually comes with an O-ring built in. This Neko rig works anywhere: rocks, weeds, deep, shallow, and in between. They work exceptionally well in water that is infested with zebra mussels because your line is seldom touching the bottom with this presentation. This rig is amazingly snag-free.
This is one of my favorite finesse techniques, and it's something that almost every guide in the North Country, you know, we fish these northern natural lakes and weed lakes, and it's termed as jig worm fishing. And it's really so simple, and almost every bass guide up in this area carries these for their parties because it's so simple to fish and it's so highly effective. Let me get this guy off. We'll get her back in the water, but this is it. It's really, really simple. All I have is a VMC Half Moon jig and a very small worm. This is a sort of a morning dawn big bite worm, very thin bodied worm, but it's just so amazingly effective out in so many different fishing situations. You get out on the edge of the deep weed lakes, weed lines in these lakes, and you throw it out and you fish it right through the weeds. You'll notice it has an exposed hook, and a lot of people would say, well, you know, why are you fishing a Texas rig? The thing is, that's what's really important about jig worm fishing is how you have it rigged. In today's day and age, we're with these braided line. I have 10-pound test Suffix braid on there, 832 braid with like about a 3-foot 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. But the thing is I actually just fish this when you get hung up on the weeds, you give it a little pop and it rips right through it.
As James was saying, you know, ripping up through the weeds, you know, we are finesse fishing, so having the right rod, this is just an icon here. This is nice. It's a soft, you know, you can see how soft it is up at the top, but there's a lot of backbone. After about, you know, the 4th eye, you know, the rod doesn't move, so you got a lot of backbone.
Here's a better one. Ooh. I like that clear water, boy. They're beautiful down there. Way down there. Come here, buddy. Little biggie. Go. Come here. Come here. The jig worm produces again, you know, throughout the summer months for such a long, extended period of time, that this jig worm is just such a phenomenal bass producer. It really is. He's starting to fatten up a little bit. These fish just got done spawning probably about, I'd say maybe a month ago.
Here we go.
Got another one?
Yeah, little guy.
We're on to a pack of them little.
Yeah, I was saying, when you get into like a little area, you get in these little sections, you just kind of go down, you fish along, and all of a sudden, I can probably just flip this guy up like that. You get into him.
Thing is right here we got that better cabbage weeds right here.
Yeah, he's hooked pretty good.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
With any of these finesse rigs, one really big thing is the weight. You know, where Troy's been fishing the Neko rig and I've been fishing the Jig Worm. But the thing is based on the attitude of the fish. If the fish are really inactive, a lighter bait is really critical. Slower the drop speed. It also, but the biggest thing, it forces you to actually fish slower, which is pretty important. One thing when you look at these baits is you look at it and actually they're like laminates, and there's all different type of really cool color schemes. This one here's got sort of like almost what they term is called like an ox blood color. But the thing is when you're fishing with these finesse baits, a lot of times the thing is you're fishing slow, and a lot of times where it really excels is in clear water where the fish can look at it for an extended period of time, where color becomes a lot more important. There's a couple of colors that are sort of your bread and butter colors. Black and blue is obviously a good color. There's another color is green pumpkin. Green pumpkin seems a pretty, naturalistic color that seems to work all over North America. But it's interesting when you look at soft bait manufacturers and you look at all the different colors that they have in any given selection or specific worm or profile of soft plastics, and you see all those colors. That's the reason why. There's a lot of preferences in different lakes and different areas.
I really like this. This is the Lund Pro V Bass 2075. There's a lot of space on the back here along, big live well in there for some big fish. You got these seats right here, flip up, as well as storage underneath. James got a fish.
Go, a little bit better one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be a fabulous big water bass boat. It's actually on the 2075 Deep V hull design to this boat, so it's going to handle really big water. One thing that's will be really cool about this boat, we do a lot of fishing out on the Great Lakes, in really big sea conditions, and this boat will be able to handle big waves, which I'm really looking forward to. Not to mention, I think it's going to be a fabulous musky boat. It's got such a really big front deck. You can easily have 3 guys casting in this boat. Oop, look at it. Oop, there's another one. Yep. You know what, we are in here. There's a hole up on the flat. There's a better one there. Come here.
Oh yeah.
We better drop a waypoint.
Drop a waypoint.
I like that. Come here, buddy. He's a little bit, come here. Oh
yeah.
He's not a lifter. There we go. You can see this guy here, we had a full moon a little while ago, like about a week ago, and it looks like this guy here might have been one of our last spawners.
Yeah.
That's interesting, and I mean, you can see how skinny that fish is. That fish actually, and we're way out in the main lake, that fish actually dumped out and moved all the way out here so that quickly. You see, need to put some food on.
There we go. Yeah, right on the edge of, there he's kind of the edge of the
better size one.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, the inside, again, this little inside pocket here. It's a nice fish. Right in the bottom. Nice fish. He's gonna try to jump one more time, but I'm not gonna let him. There we go. Not a bad one. We caught a number of these like this today, and I tell you what, finesse fishing like this is applicable anywhere. Shallow, deep, everything in between. It catches fish.
It always amazes me how God uses people, places, and circumstances in life to get His work done, to reach people, to help them. My wife and I support a lot of different ministries, some very, very large, some quite small. They have touched our heart in some way, and some of them I might support for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Others are 25, 30 years or longer. Some years ago, my wife and I were on a vacation in Phoenix, and she bumped into somebody from a place called Church on the Street. At the time, it didn't mean that much to us. But a few years later, we had someone that was very, very close to my wife and I that was in time of need. We didn't know who to contact in Phoenix, but my wife remembered Church on the Street. She ran it down. We got a hold of Pastor Walt and some of the people there, and they were good enough to follow up on some of the things we asked and go help this person that was so close to us at a time that they were in need. This was truly a blessing. Today, my wife and I still support it. This is a local monthly newsletter that Pastor Walt sends out. He works the street with his people. People that are homeless, people that are hurting, people that are on drugs, people that need a touch from the hand of God. Like I said, God's got his people everywhere. Big ministries, small ministries, everything in between. When he wants something done, there's somebody there to do it if they got a willing heart. Hey, I had to share that with you. From all of us here at The Edge, you have a good, safe fishing season. We'll see you on the water.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for watching. And if you really like what you see, we got a whole lot more. So check us out at any one of these online outlets.